Hi again, Captain Peter Cutsey, circling to land. Line selectable from the database, that is what is preferred. We don't particularly want pilots to be typing in and creating their own circling to land. What you've been viewing with my videos on YouTube recently was just that, and a good way to train people. But even a better way is to have us install the procedure in the database and the ability to train in an offsite database in a simulator and then insert it on your aircraft. So what you're looking at here is a sample of what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks regarding flying the localizer approach to runway 13 right at Abu Dhabi, circling north to land on runway 31 left. What we have here, and we'll just step through it on the nav display, is the actual localizer approach with Kinnell, Sokov for the arrival to runway 13 right, and a 2 nautical mile prior to Sokov point to complete the 8 items we should be doing before starting a descent. So what we've done is actually overlaid the actual approach with this circling to land, and when at the minimum of 1,100 feet, breaking off in a visual environment. And we're looking at that now. We'll step through it. There is the breakoff point, and that breakoff point is 2.5 nautical miles from the threshold of runway 13 right. So, and then stepping through to the downwind position. And if you notice here, several waypoints in the arc to final. It was necessary to create these waypoints because we are unable to actually design a radius to fix arc, which is a continuous arc. And that would happen with your database provider when actually uploading all this data that you see on the CDU, all the different waypoints. So in order to demonstrate this in a simulator, I've created 5 waypoints in the arc, and the aircraft will fly, the simulator will fly the arc beautifully and quite smoothly. So in the airplane, that would be one continuous radius to fix arc, as long as you understand that. All right. All right, here we are. We're going to fly the approach. We're in VNAV path. And as we approach Kinnell, we will start configuring to flaps 1 and flaps 5. And then at SOC 01, we will complete the 8 items as we have been briefing several times in the past. First, set MDA, then ensure VNAV path, check the AMP against RNP, gear down, flaps 15, speed brakes armed, open the speed window, and set flap 15 speed. 8 items. And there is the message in the scratch pad. Reset the MCP altitude. We'll configure now for flaps 1 set flaps 1 speed, flaps 5, we'll set flaps 5 speed, gear down, flaps 15, and speed brakes armed. And of course, we need to set the 1100. We are in VNAV path, and the AMP checks out with respect to the RMP. The speed window is open, and we'll set flaps 15 speed, which we have. And we're just coming up to the top of descent, as we can see on the nav display. We're going to go to map center, and we're going to look at the VSD also. There is our vertical path on the NPS scale, and there it is on the nav display. We're in our descent to the minimum. The beauty of this procedure being line selectable is pilots don't type in anything except the selection from the database. All of this information can be sent to your database service provider. They'll put it in an offsite database and send it to you so you can use it in the simulator the way we are using it here for training. So we're starting the turn. We're not at minimum yet. The airport's in sight. The software is following a prescribed path. We're visual on the airport. We're in VNAV path, and we're just going to come up to that position now of minimum. And we're in VNAV path. And if you notice, our track is 081, something that you've been looking at in all the videos that we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. We'll configure now to landing flap, flaps 30, and set the airspeed bug to VREF 30 plus 5. The landing check. set the heading bug to what the heading will be. Well, we really should have been doing that inbound on when we were flying inbound on 126. In any case, we're in VNAV path. We have yet to set the missed approach altitude. There's a reason for that, and different carriers make use of the MCP window in different ways. We're just going to, this is a demonstration, is ensure we're in VNAV path, and when we have the runway visual and we are manually flying the aircraft, we'll make sure that we set the missed approach altitude of 4,000 feet. We're exactly 2.5 nautical miles down. When I didn't put in the circles on the fixed page, we didn't need them because we have coordinates in the database. And that's what makes this feature so beautiful, really. And it is. We've changed the visual scene to a night scene so we can better appreciate the runway and the poppy. We're starting our turn, so we can select the runway heading adjusted for track. So 300, just for something to look at here right now, you follow your company SOPs, they may want you to select 306, which is the runway track. So let's do it that way and follow what most companies do. We're in VNAV path. We are level because we haven't started yet the second stage descent until we get to this point here on the screen. I'm pointing to it right now. You can see that. So that we can actually effectively be, if you look over here on the CDU at 877 feet by the alpha point, which is 2.5 nautical miles from touchdown, and on the poppy. So we are really in VNAV path still. We've set something lower in the MCP just so that we can see this for this demo. We're in VNAV path and we are on a 3-degree glide path. So let's just pause everything here and go outside and have a look at what we're viewing. Mission accomplished. 2 red, 2 white. So we would be flying the aircraft manually at this particular point. Let's stop here and thank you for watching. And if you're interested in having this kind of procedure set up in your aircraft, you can contact me. We'll gladly do it. We've been doing it since 1985, and they're very successful and very safe, and a great way to increase your service to your customers to airports where you would normally not fly to because you have to circle to land and you haven't trained your pilots to circle to land. Thanks for watching.